The only thing that I've seen from you that has not, really panned out is the old Bitcoin statement.
I still don't believe in Bitcoin, but as Jamie Dimon said a couple of years, not just to me, to the shareholders, if my customers want me to make a market, I'll make a market. If you think it's going to replace the dollar as the main currency, if you think it's going to be like the national bank, that's just not going to happen.
But it's happening.
No, it's not. So it has $2 trillion in value, whatever the value is. But if you think that the Ford Foundation, the Rocket Foundation, the Federal Bank Reserve,
they're all buying it.
They're buying 1%.
Well, why would they want any if it's going to be valueless?
Because it's an embarrassment clause. Just in case it goes to $1 trillion, they participated. It's just so they're not totally embarrassed.
That's why I bought it. Just so I'm not, completely embarrassed. If it goes to $1 trillion, I don't want to be embarrassed or anything. Well, that's a hell of a sales pitch, eh? Just, you don't want to get embarrassed and not buy it. They're all buying it. Yay, 1%. That's the classic guy. Bitcoin's going to zero. Zero. Eventually, maybe one day we'll go to zero. Who knows? Yesterday, we didn't get the price action we desperately needed. We needed to see what some legacy analysts call a V-shaped recovery. We did not get this. Now, we got rejected off. This is an interesting line here because I was wondering, Duke's losing his mind. I was wondering, what the hell is this line here? What did I make it? I make so many doodles and lines that I just can't keep ahead of it. And I realized, it was a bullish divergence that I guess I don't have it here, so we'll put this in as well. We got it's a slightly higher low, right? And we have lower lows still. So I would say that did this play it out? No, I don't think so. We have, this is bullish divergence of the classic kind, of the reversal kind, one might say. That's the 4-hour chart. She's a noisy little so-and-so. So we're going to... Duke is losing his mind. He's developing a little bit of a problem, you might say, out there. He believes that there's hackers. There's hackers out to get me. Anyway, this is a bullish divergence of the reversal kind on the 4-hour chart. What does that mean? Well, hopefully, best case scenario, or actually worst case scenario, we can pump up into this channel of descension 96.8, min 96.8. That's right at the 50 moving average too. So there's some confluence. I guess we got headwinds from the 20 moving average, which makes sense. But we got to get up and above it. No questions about it. It shows to me that the market is still weak. It's still hesitant and the bulls aren't back. And so if the bulls aren't back and we retest 88K, she might break. And then all hell will break loose. Once we're in the 80s, that's when everyone starts reevaluating their existence, their lives. What did I tell my wife I did? I put all my savings into Bitcoin. You'll have to come up with a speech or something about that with your wife or your better half, whatever that is. Bruce Mai takes after his conspiracy theory. Yeah. It's like, these people are out to get me. Well, I played with him again yesterday, right? So he was playing. He's like, "You want to play with me?" Okay, I'll play Fortnite with you. And he's telling me all the moves. It's like X does this, and then X and this does that, and then you switch your guns, and then this is B. You pick up or duck or get into a car. Too much right now for me. So I tried. Immediately killed. And then he's like, "How do these guys even have guns yet? We just landed." I'm like, "Where do you get guns? I don't know where you get guns." So I played 3 times. I gave it a fair shake 3 times. And then he kind of gave me I'm going to play by myself again. Thanks. Over on the daily chart, we haven't even got back up and over this channel of descension. You can see we're getting resistance every time we hit it. Threw a little wick over there. Long hair, don't care wick. Up above, denied. And then she came down and we're trying to get back up again. Now this would be the indicator of V-shaped recovery on the daily chart. You know, it may take a few days, maybe to Friday, maybe NVIDIA coming out tonight, you know, after market close. You know, you don't want to release it during the market and all hell break loose and prices go crazy. You know, you want to protect investors from volatility. Do you? Do you really want to protect investors from volatility? I don't like that. You know, get your earnings out in the day and have the market suss it out. Because that's what free market capitalism is all about, right? And so when I break down everything, you know, all the conspiracies and whatnot, I think at the root, beyond the monetary system, the root of it all is free market capitalism. They're trying to eradicate slowly, right? And the bigger the bureaucracy of the government, the less free market capitalism we have. And now the reason why they want to get rid of free market capitalism goes back to my loser theory, of course. You know, free market capitalism, only the strong survive. It's a meritocracy. You do well, you're rewarded. You don't do well, you're bankrupt. And someone buys your idea for 10 cents on the dollar, maybe, if it was even worth 10 cents on the dollar. But in a planned economy, which they're slowly trying to nudge, right? That way, the people that get into power can control the levers of the economy with their misallocation of resources into, you know, gender affirming goats and what have you in Ethiopia or whatever they send all this money to. That wouldn't exist in free market capitalism. No sane person would do that. Not even the most compassionate government like Canada's government. We're so compassionate that we urge people to kill themselves in these death machines. We talked about this, the death doulas, right? It's a new vocation you can take at Hertz in Career College. So, technical analyst? No, that's just astrology. Can't do that. Nurse? Well, I'm a guy. I don't want people to think I'm gay. Death doula. Interesting. Maybe I'll do that. Checks box. Probably incentivized, right? Did you get how's that death doula course doing? I didn't get in it. I'm white. They said they didn't want any white men in the course. So, you know, I guess I'll have to wait till next year. Funny story. About 25 years ago, when I was like spinning the wheel of fortune about my life, what should I do with a job? You know, I was like, I suppose I should get a job here, right? This is like my midlife crisis for around 25, the year 2000. And so I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll become a fireman, right? It's kind of like a low-hanging fruit for the non-university highway, right? I'll just become a fireman. And I applied. You know how fate and fortune has a different idea for you. I didn't get in because I was, and I kid you not, too white. They didn't need any white men in there. They needed women and they needed indigenous people. And I just didn't fit the bill, you know. So I didn't get in. Now, good luck, bad luck, who knows? I always say, you know, your greatest triumph is just a series of continuous failures that took you to that one moment, right? And I always say that my kind of more North Star triumph is Duke. You know how many times I had to F up to make sure Duke was pulled over from the field into this reality? It's amazing. It was like, if that was actually a movie of all the things that went wrong in order for me to steer my dumb ass into bringing Duke over. It's crazy. I live beside a fireman, and he always complains about the bureaucracy and you know, like, so another fun fact you might not know. The market's not doing anything. What are we going to talk about? The price at the same time? No, it's the same price it was yesterday, unfortunately. But he always complains that he's a chief, or a staff captain or something like that. He's in charge. And he says that he can't put the best driver of the truck in all the time. I know that sounds crazy, right? It's like, what do you mean? Well, why wouldn't you want, you know, in an emergency scenario, why wouldn't you want the best driver driving the truck? He's the best driver. And they're like, well, that's, we're mandated to rotate. This isn't a meritocracy. We don't drive fire engines based on who's the best. We get the drivers to rotate. So they never really get good at it. And then he has some women firemen, and they have to drive the truck. And he says when they have to drive the truck, it's a goddamn nightmare. Now, unpopular opinion, perhaps, but not all women are bad drivers. Some are maybe good. Maybe, right? I know a lot of women who drive. They don't get in accidents. Do they cause accidents? I didn't say that, Bruce Mai. But anyway, imagine putting them in this massive fire truck, speeding through traffic. Then there's the directions thing, right? Well, I assume now they're just following a GPS, right? And then the poor guys, like the master drivers that have been driving for 20 years they know like they have bat routes for everything. They know how to get everywhere super fast. They're like just buckled up like, holy shit. And then they get there. Might take a little while, but hey, we're dealing with seconds, right? Seconds between life and death. Now ask yourself, would you want that happening if you were in an emergency, or would you want the best driver possible, right? And that's an easy answer. The answer is I just want the best goddamn driver coming to rescue my arse from my burning garage because I cook steaks in it. Sometimes I, forget to turn it off. Right? What? I don't. I do cook steaks in my garage, but I don't forget to turn it off. Speaking of doing nothing, like here's the weekly chart too. Now there is a little bit of good news on this weekly chart, because I was wondering what the hell is this line, right? You got to remember, Scotty Moe, I do so many doodles here that I don't remember from which a doodle came, but this is a hidden bullish divergence. Slightly better, not slightly better, much better than Imani says. Can they carry a 250 man out of a fire? Let me see, where is this? No, they can't. That doesn't matter though. Are you some sort of misogynist bigot, Imani? God damn it. What does it matter if they can carry a 250? Do they have to do that in real life? Yeah? It's scary. I don't know. Wick says fire truck drivers don't need to be good drivers. That's what the sirens are for. Yes, that's right. They just clear the streets. Now, here's where you might be mistaken up in Canadistan here, because we have some drivers who don't really know how to drive because, well, they just came to the country. And the best part is that as soon as they come to the country, as soon as one gets a license, they start a school. And they are now teaching all their relatives who are coming over how to drive. So you have this kind of blind leading the blind. Now, fire engines, what the hell are fire engines? These sirens, when they hear, they don't know. So, you pull off to the right and you slow down. You actually have to stop, right? You have to clear the road. Holy smokes, it's Misco. Good to see you, buddy. Hope everything's going okay. You have to pull off. Now, if you don't know that, you don't know it. You're just kind of like Super Mario, like what's going on here? And they, what are the sirens supposed to do? They're supposed to move these cars, but they don't. They usually just kind of get so scared, drive into a pole or something. Anyway, this weekly chart has some hidden bullish divergence. Now, it's not the reversal kind, but it's more just like saying, hey, we're going to probably keep on this path, barring some dad rules. Now, we are getting some dad rules in the next couple days. NVIDIA earnings should rock the Casbah a little bit, good or bad, right? We're at that precipice now in the entire market where one thing can change the course of the next 6 months or the next 2 quarters, if we want to talk about quarters. So for instance, a nightmarish NVIDIA earnings would consolidate all the AI bubble fears. See, NVIDIA had one bad quarter. It's a bubble. Right? And what's for sure not going to happen is that calling AI bubble. Now, maybe AI might have to reevaluate some of its frothiness, but calling AI a bubble is like going back in time and calling the light bulb companies. These light bulbs, that's a bubble. That's not going to catch on. What do we need light bulbs for? We got fire. Works fine. We don't need this bubble. You want to invest in light bulbs? Okay. But it's going to zero. Light bulbs are going to zero. Of course, AI is not going anywhere. In fact, it's just getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. So they may have to reevaluate some of the prices, and then it comes with ebbs and flows, right? But listen, AI is not going anywhere. You see, like the little things at the beginning, like that is a picture of me ran through Grok, and I didn't even prompt it to do anything. So it just has my face with the Bitcoin thing behind it. I'll show you. And it came up with that. I didn't prompt it. I didn't say, make my eyes bulgy and huge bags under them. It just did it. And I'm like, hey, that looks like someone screaming at the charts, trying to make the price go up. Thus, that was the title based on what Grok's image was on the arbitrary picture I gave it to him. So it's just getting better. Now, that couldn't happen a month ago. So for instance, a month ago, I had to kind of trick it into doing things. It just wouldn't sometimes, or it would say it just didn't know what my prompt was. When I was saying, make me look more handsome and younger, it was just like, we cannot compute how to do this, right? And so I'd have to massage it into doing it. Now, it basically does things before I even prompt it. And then if I want to prompt it, the second with the little moving image at the beginning where his eyes turns into Bitcoins, I was like, make his eyes, zoom into his eyes with hyper-realistic Bitcoins. Click, 100%. In like 5 seconds, it's done. So to put it into perspective, a year ago, I couldn't make that. Like with my high-end editing skills, probably higher than most. My high-end Photoshop editing skills, probably higher than most. I couldn't do that. Make my face get big with bulgy eyes. It's just not possible. Now it's possible. So you got to think, you got to extrapolate that out and then exponentially double it. It's going to be crazy. AI is going to be crazy. I think that the next realm of AI will be complete voice prompts. Like we may even see keyboards and mice go away. And then keyboards and mice or mouse pads, whatever that, you know what I'm talking about. They will be the things that our kids make fun of. It's like, why don't you go why don't you try to control it with a mouse, Dad? Or a keyboard? Why don't you type your instructions into it? Oh, well, damn it. Yeah, that's all we had is a keyboard. How we couldn't talk to computers back then. They didn't. We had to put in our prompts with our keyboard. Still got my keyboard, and guess what? I'm gonna keep using my keyboard. Okay, Dad. And your mouse? Yes, my mouse. It's a wireless mouse too. Anyway, we'll be like all these things will just. So back like a year ago, when I was editing the TA videos, even that will be done. The reason why I buy DaVinci Resolve is because it's a one-time Johnny. You just buy it once, and then they sit there and evolve, and then they give you an update. So it's not like Premiere where you're on the hook for like $500 a year for the rest of your life, probably going up and up. You buy DaVinci once, It's like 400 Canadian or something. Like that's cheap. If you really think about it, what DaVinci does as an editing software, $400 is cheap. And meanwhile, they go and take all the AI. Now there's so much AI that's going on there. A lot of the videos that I show at the beginning of the thing, they have music in it. And I just click a button and it takes the music out. I know it's not that exciting, but this is only within a year or two that you could do that. Before that, I couldn't use a lot of those videos because they would have copyrighted songs. Usually, Don't Stop Believing. For some reason, the dung, 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 dung. X copyright dot demonetize. You know what I mean? So like that AI stuff is coming so fast, and a lot of the roboscoping, if you know what that is, that's like, you know, a lot of the transparent videos and pictures. You used to have to rotoscope every goddamn frame to get out. And now you just click a button and in like a minute it'll rotoscope, 5 minutes. So it's crazy. And so we'll just be saying, yeah, can you put me, for instance, like let's say the piano bar that Kyle and I do on the weekends. You'll be able to go, I want to watch Matty B and Kyle play in 1920s bar and make it smoky with a fire in the background. Maybe it's snowing outside. And then click and you'll be listening. It's like, it's a little too polished. It's like, can you make them a little bit flat like they're singing live without auto-tune, which we sing live without auto-tune. Click and it'll be a little more live and it won't be nothing. That's what people will do. That's what'll be the live entertainment, unless there's a resurgence of live music, the spectacle, the excitement, but I don't know. Because I asked my niece who's 17, I said, because we were watching the Grey Cup and it had Our Lady Peace, which if you don't know, because there's not many Canadians on this stream, Our Lady Peace was like a very popular band in Canada in the 90s. They were our answer to kind of shoe kicking, kick at the dirt, shoegazing grunge rock. That's right, E-Money, Superman's dead. Yeah. He wasn't the greatest singer, but he was handsome enough to get by. And sometimes that's all you need, But he's still as bad a singer as he was back then. But there was only like 4 bands that they would give record deals to, and then they had a 20-year career. That's it. Who are we signing? No one. We still got 4 bands running. They're only on their 18th year, right? And then they just kind of stopped signing bands. So long story short, my sister and I were watching this. I'm like, the reason why they have these, and there's all these kids like kind of dancing too. They're probably looking like, who is this? I'm like, I don't know. Is this your dad's band? No, my dad's like not that old, right? And so Jesse Wilson, handsome enough to beg Chantel Kreviazek. Yeah, that's right. Chantel lived in my neck of the woods during high school, but she lived on the right side of the tracks, unfortunately. So we had like this street called Roland, and then to the left or south was Westdale, which I lived. To the right was River West Park, and it was the wealthier part. And then there was the upper echelon of River West Park called Paradise Bay. And that's where Chantel lived, Paradise Bay. Her family ran a company called Kreviazek, right? Krevko is like a spa, like hot tubs and stuff. Anyway, bring it back into what you were talking about. It was the reason why they had this band is that there's probably no bands out there. And God knows I don't have my ear to the ground. I don't know what the hell the kids are doing these days, but I don't know if there's bands. Like my nephew who's 14 or 15, he just listens to classic rock. And I think because there's no bands. So how would the Grey Cup get back, if this was 30 years ago in the Grey Cup, they would have Our Lady Peace, who would have been 25 at the time, right? Or 20 or something like that. And everyone would have known who Our Lady Peace is. Now, 30 years later, they still have Our Lady Peace, but nobody knows who they are except for the old people watching. Then I asked my niece, are there any bands out there? Like, can you tell me one band? And she's like, yeah. No, I can actually. She couldn't. One band. Now, I'm sure there are bands. Let's not get excited here and start putting all these new bands here. For instance, I don't know one band. I haven't heard one. And a lot of times when I bring up a band, they're like 15 years old. I'm like, what about, now I can't even think of one. What was that young band that emulates Led Zeppelin? He's got that high whiny voice and the riffs are kind of Led Zeppelin-esque. But they're probably 10 years old now, right? Laserface, K-pop Demon Hunters, yeah. E-Money does Canistan do CanCon? Of course. But, I mean, you'd only realize that if you listen to the radio, right? Or back in the day, we had something called Much Music, which was our version of MTV. And it was CanCon. So you would have like, you know, Michael Jackson, a bunch of other popular American acts at the time, and then a bunch of no-name Canadians. And it was like, and they also had like some Canadian specials because they had to designate some time to, and I bet you like the metrics would be like American bands. Everyone's watching. Go into a Canadian program, nobody watches. There was even something called French Kiss where they would highlight like French music. And God, yeah, we all know. Let's call a spade when it comes to French music, right? It's like Christian rock. French music is like Christian rock. There's something about it that you immediately, what's wrong with this? It's French. Okay, so it's French something. I don't care. No, I've never heard any good French rock songs ever once. And if it's Christian rock, there's something more different about it. It's like, it's not bad, but there's something off about it. It's like the gravy's not thick enough here. Something is like everything kind of looks and sounds, but there's something off, right? So for instance, we were talking about this on the piano bar on Saturday or Friday. It was Evanescence. They were started out as a Christian rock duo. Now you might know that. I don't know. I didn't know that for the longest time. And then when I go back and listen, I'm like, oh yeah, there you go. I knew there was something off about that duo. But we were talking because the guy in the band, because they started out as a duo, you know, break me up and oh, your soul, take me down inside, baby, bring me to life or something like that. And whereas the guy in the band, he was the duo. So my theory was he secretly loved Amy and was a long-term squatter, right? He loved her so much that he, you know, got good at music. It was just like, yeah, I'll back you up. I'll be the singer, you know, do this. And then finally one day he got the nerve after they got their first gold record. It's like, we did it, Amy. You know, so I was thinking maybe we get married. I don't know. What? I said we get married. You know, we tour together. We write together. No, Jimmy. I do not like you that way. Next thing you know, old Jimmy's out of the band. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video.